Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Thank you everyone that submitted questions for this week's Arrow Flash Q&A. Just like normal, I'm going to start with Flash stuff, and then I'll get into Arrow questions. I know there are a bunch of big questions about time travel, what's going on with the Groundhog's Day situation, and what's up with like the two really big WTF reveals on Arrow. So just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episodes yet. I'll start with the easy stuff on the Flash, the easy time travel explainers. So yes, episode 16 is going to be Barry reliving most of the events from episode 15. That includes the conclusion of Awkward Date, remember because he bailed in the date like early on, finding Weather Wizard faster, and as a result of those things, he'll probably bump into Cisco earlier and cause Cisco to do something differently, which will result in Harrison Wells not going back and killing him. Cisco's alive in a lot of the future trailer footage, so clearly something changes to save his life. Remember, the only people that found out about Harrison Wells in the original timeline were Caitlin and Cisco's really the only one that completely figured it out. Caitlin just knows something's weird. That means it's going to be that much longer before people figure out who Harrison Wells really is, that he's Eobard Thawne. That's why you see the trailer footage with him talking to Gideon going, "Show me the future," or the footage of him from episode 18, which is way down the line, the Atom crossover with him sitting in front of Ray Palmer's suit. And there's been the recent pictures that Rick Kuznets has taken with Tom Cavanaugh. I'm really interested to see if Eobard Thawne tries to steer Eddie Thawne in a certain direction to ensure his lineage. For the most part, they are sticking with comic book continuity. So Iris probably gets married to Barry like she does in the comics. Eddie Thawne goes on to hate Barry for some reason, and many, many years down the road, Eobard Thawne is born, becomes the Reverse Flash, and starts the war against Barry Allen. That's where it gets really timey-wimey because it's like, it's a war in the future that spills into the past, that feeds the future even more. It's like this giant feedback loop of time travel. Think back to Arrow Season 2. By the time we got to the last couple episodes, Slade had already taken over the city, and it was all about Team Arrow taking him down. I think that means that Barry's going to learn who Harrison Wells is before episode 21, at least episode 22 at the latest. So, on to questions, all kinds of time travel stuff. Persian Monkey Studios asks, how did Harrison Wells get bloody when he was getting punched by a recording? Well, so technically it was like him punching himself, and what they were watching was a speed mirage, like as he called it. So he really was punching himself. It wasn't like a physical hologram punching him. They're a little fuzzy on exactly how fast he's moving. I think they'll start to quantify that as Harrison Wells starts to explain time travel to Barry in a deeper way. Next question, Ryan asks, do you think that in a future season, like season 4 or 5, Barry will die and then Wally will take over as the Flash, and then Bart Allen will be Kid Flash and Arsenal will get cloned? So you're thinking, like stuff that they've done from the comics and the cartoons before. No, I think that Grant Gustin will always be the main Flash. Like they'll have other Flashes come on. They'll totally do more of the Flash family, even like Jesse Quick. That'd be cool too. I think what'll happen is they might come on briefly, but the show will always reset by the finale. I think we'll get to Black Racer, all kinds of crazy stuff. Barry Allen could get trapped in the Speed Force for a couple episodes at some point, but he'll always come back. Like they'll do their version of Arrow killing Oliver Queen. He was away for a while. He wasn't in a couple episodes in a big way. So I think they'll do something like that. But Grant Gustin will always be their lead actor. They've kind of done that in the comics where you've had like multiple Flash family, like where you had Jay Garrick and Wally West during the Wally West run. So they'll do stuff like that where you have more than one Flash on a show, but Barry Allen will always be the main Flash. Next question though, Dynasty Heroes asks, so is Eddie Thawne a villain then? Well, Not quite yet. I think he's getting there. I think by the end of the season, that's what the tease is. If they do turn him into a villain, if they do go straight from the comic books and he's like a Hunter Zolomon type character with a Thawne name, as part of like the Thawne lineage, then I think that he would be the big bad in season 2. It's kind of like Arrow going from season 1 to season 2. Season 1, Malcolm Merlyn, Oliver's biggest villain. He's like the biggest Green Arrow villain in the comics too, or one of the biggest villains. The season 2 villain, Slade, started out as Oliver's friend. So just like that on The Flash, Eddie Thawne starts out as Barry's friend in season 1, becomes the villain in season 2. I think that's like a logical place to go. But there will be other villains, other really big villains. That includes rogues, Justice League villains, anybody else that they feel would be a good match for the other characters on the show. Beyond the second Reverse Flash, I think it's a little too soon to speculate on big season 2 villains. Gorilla Grodd, I think, is definitely on the list. He's always going to come back. He's way too amazing to ride the bench. Next question, WWE fan asks, will Barry ever interact with his future self, and will Barry ever find out Harrison Wells is Eddie Thawne? I assume you meant Eobard Thawne. Second question, I think I already answered. Yeah, he'll totally figure that out, before like the last 1 or 2 episodes. As for your other question, yeah, definitely he will talk to himself. In that clip from the trailer, he's punching himself. So at some point, he's going to try and stop himself from doing something and his other self will say, "Fuck you, buddy." I think episode 16 will explain a lot of that. Next question, Alan Law asks, the new Suicide Squad, Amanda Waller, Deathstroke, Boomerang, Weather Wizard, and Nyssa. That would be awesome. I don't see, like, Nyssa, I feel like she's going to take Ra's al Ghul's place. Like, they'll find a way for Oliver to back out of the deal and Nyssa to take his place, become the heir again. Really, Cupid is like the replacement person in the Suicide Squad. I think depending on fan reaction to the Suicide Squad episode next week, they'll mix and match characters. Every time they bring the Suicide Squad back on the show, it changes just a little bit because they don't use them that often. But I do think at some point they'll bring Captain Boomerang back on as a Suicide Squad member. If not in season 4, then in season 5. A lot of that depends on the actor's availability. Next question, Bartu asks, I hope they do Flashpoint, but how will they put Batman, Cyborg, Aquaman in the TV show? Okay, so think about it this way. What is Flashpoint? All it really is the Reverse Flash trying to turn Barry Allen into a living paradox. You really don't need any other characters for that. Really, the Reverse Flash just allows Barry Allen to save his mother, and that completely changes the timeline via butterfly effect. The war between Atlantis and the surface world and all the other stuff that's going on, those are just side effects. They're not necessary. The Reverse Flash doesn't care about them. He just cares about killing Barry Allen, and the only way he can do that is by turning him into a living paradox. So when I talk about Flashpoint Paradox with reference to the show, that's what I'm talking about. Just the Reverse Flash eliminating Barry Allen without eliminating himself from the timeline. Next question, Ooh2K asks, so it looks like you're asking about 2 Barry Allens in the past, maybe merging and becoming 1 Barry Allen. No, because there's 2 of them fighting in the trailer, they're very clearly going to be 2 of them. One of them will leave and leave the original one there. I know it gets into multiverse territory. Don't overthink it too much before the show explains it. What I think they'll do is Harrison Wells will explain to Barry how he can return to the original timeline without messing stuff up. Because very clearly, Eobard Thawne has a lot of experience in time traveling and trying to change the past without completely messing up his own future. Next question, David asks, so is Iris going to know who the Flash is, or will she not know since Barry went back in time? Well, she'll only know if Barry repeats all those events in the same way. He could, I think what'll happen is he'll do something different and she won't find out. Andrew Kreisberg was pretty upfront with them having fun with episode 16 and Barry doing things differently. So I think it'll lead to a different outcome, kind of resetting a lot of the WTF crap stuff. Cisco won't die, Iris won't find out, Barry will defeat Weather Wizard and save Joe. That would just allow things to progress status quo for the next couple of episodes as things slowly spin out of control more and more. Next question, Yao asks, any chance of the TV Flash crossing over with the movie Flash? That would be like the smallest of cameos if it happens, and I don't think it's going to happen. Ezra Miller is playing the movie version of the Flash. It sounds like he's going to be the Barry Allen Flash too. And Warner Brothers is going to be like TVs and movies, completely different universes, deal with it. I've heard rumors that the Batman v Superman trailer has footage of Ezra Miller in it as Barry Allen, but there's no confirmation on that. I have no idea what the movie version of the Flash is going to look like. I wouldn't worry about it too much. By the time we actually get to that Flash Green Lantern movie, there will be so many seasons of the TV Flash that I think people will identify more with the Grant Gustin Flash than they will with the Ezra Miller Flash. So moving into general Arrow questions, Harry asks, if Shadow's alive, why did Oliver let Deathstroke kill his mother, kidnap his sister, and go all crazy in the city? I think the simplest answer is that was not Shadow. That was either a sister or a clone. It would be pretty WTF if it was a clone. And surprise, surprise, why would she appear in the one place that Oliver happens to be? That's an awful big coincidence. And why hasn't Oliver mentioned her in the future? Either because she died in the past in the flashbacks, like she'll die eventually, or it really is a sister and Oliver was trying to protect her by not telling Slade about her. Just to be clear though, that was the exact same actress that played Shadow in seasons 1 and 2. Next question though, Mark asks, since Magic is in the Arrowverse, I hope they get a Constantine crossover. So I picked this one for a very specific reason. I've heard rumors that Constantine has been canceled, which is sad, but that does free up the character and Matt Ryan to cross over. If they gotten picked up, because NBC's a different network, it just made it nearly impossible for him to cross over. But if it's canceled and NBC frees up the character, then it's a lot easier to happen, because I think Matt Ryan would totally be down to do stuff like that. That also kind of gets into actor availability too, but there's some issues with rights and different networks. So it's a little more complicated. It's not a simple answer. Next question, Dark Vengeance asks, imagine Raish resurrected Sarah. I know it's impossible, but that'd be a big WTF moment for the season finale. Well, it's not impossible, but I think, general assumption is that Katie Lotz will be playing a different character on the spin-off show. I don't feel like they would have introduced the Lazarus Pit if they weren't going to resurrect somebody, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't also resurrect multiple people. I would be very, very surprised if they made any official announcements about who Katie Lotz is playing before the Arrow finale this year. They might even wait till Comic-Con to announce it, but they'll be filming the pilot for the spin-off show soon, so they'll have to have some outdoor scenes, so we will get a look. If she's going to be wearing a costume, we will see what it is. It's like somebody will snipe the set. So spoilers or not spoilers, people will find out before the summer. I think what everyone's hoping is that she'll come back as Sarah, like it'll be Sarah being resurrected, but it'll be some twisted version of her, and that'll explain why she's not going to be living in Starling City. Thank you so much, though, everyone, for submitting questions. These are always a ton of fun to do. I know there's still a whole bunch of questions about second Reverse Flash, what's happening with Eddie Thawne. Definitely, I think most of those questions are going to be answered in the next 3 episodes. The only thing I'm really worried about is if they lose Tom Cavanaugh for season 2 of The Flash. He is so amazing that it's like, can the show maintain its momentum if they lose one of their best characters? That's actually a good question for you guys. Do you feel like, Arrow season 2, they had Slade Wilson, amazing character, Manu Bennett, amazing actor. Do you feel like Rick Kuznets could rise to the level of Manu Bennett as like a season 2 villain? It feels like his character has been riding the bench for most of the season, so it's really hard to get a read on him as an actor. I think that'll change in the next couple of episodes. So don't forget, new episodes of Arrow and the Flash next week. Be sure to subscribe to get my videos. It's going to be, a little bit Terminator, a little bit Groundhog Day. Scary, funny at the same time. Going to be a lot of fun. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, you can click here for my Flash video. Probably one of the best episodes this season. And you can click here for this week's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if you haven't seen it yet. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Now let's all do the thing.